What's up everybody, today I'm here to talk with you about the game settings and PC settings to make your game smoother and make it run better with higher FPS. So let's get into it. First off, what you want to do is to open up your Windows search and type this PC. When this menu opens, you want to go to where Valorant is installed. For me, it's installed on my C drive, Riot Games, Valorant, Live, and here you go. One thing that you want to do next is to right click on Valorant and go to properties. Make sure you don't right click on the folder because I've seen a lot of people do this. Right click on the Valorant exactly, go to properties, then go to compatibility and disable full screen optimization. Make sure to check that. Next up, go to change high DPI setting and also check override high DPI scaling behavior. Check that, put it on application, press OK twice. Next up, we're gonna go into shooter game folder, binaries, Win64. Then scroll all the way down when you find the Valorant Win64 shipping. Right click on that and do the exact same thing that you just did with Valorant. So we go into compatibility, disable full screen optimization and change high DPI setting, second check mark, press OK twice. Next up, what we're gonna do is to right click on the desktop, anywhere on desktop. But if you're a Windows 11 user, you wanna open up your Windows search and type Nvidia control panel. Or if you're a Windows 10 user like me, right click on desktop and Nvidia control panel should be there. If you're an AMD user, however, and your graphic card is AMD, you can fully skip this part. You don't need to do anything. So we're gonna open Nvidia control panel. After it opens, or for some people it does not open, and that means that your graphic card is either not updated or it hasn't even been installed after you upgraded your PC or installed your Windows in general. So what we're gonna do is at first we're gonna open up our Windows menu if this happens to you. If it doesn't and opens, you can skip this part. We're gonna open our Windows menu by pressing the Windows key on keyboard and then type DXDIAG. So then when you see this icon, you're going to click on open, wait for it to open. After it opens like this, you're going to go to display 1, and then you see here the graphic card that you have, the name and the model of it. So for me, it's GTX 1080. What you're going to do next, remember that model and go to your browser and type nvidia.com/download. Just like here, I will also leave the link in the description below. Then what you want to do next is to click your product type. For me is a GeForce, as you can see here, it says GeForce. Then product series. Series is the number you see the first year. So for me it's the 10 series. So I put it on 10. And then the product itself, click on it, and for me it is GeForce GTX 1080, as you can see here. And then click here to basically choose your Windows, if it's Windows 11, 10, 9, 7, whatever you use. And then download type, you can put it on a studio driver, but it's not really that good, so game ready driver, and the language that you want your graphic card to be. Click on search, and then after a few seconds, it goes into this website. Click on download, and then after the download finishes, install that driver. The install process is very easy. You don't have to do anything but waiting. You just press next multiple times and then it will start the process itself, and you don't really need to do anything special. Then next up, after you do the installation, we come back to this menu. So when this opens, the first thing that you really want to check, and I've seen a lot of people not check it, is to go into change resolution. Make sure your monitor refresh rate is at the highest possible. A lot of people don't have it on highest, and they do actually have a 144 monitor, but their display is showing them 60 Hz because they forgot to change this setting. So you come here and put it on 240 Hz for me, or basically the highest number that is for your monitor. Next up, we go to manage 3D setting. After that, we go to program setting, click on add and add Valorant. I've already had it, so it's here. After you click on that, it opens this list, and then you search for Valorant and add it in. Next up, what you're gonna see is this list here. We're gonna go from top to bottom. So what we're gonna do is the first thing, anti-aliasing gamma correction. We're gonna turn it off. Then we scroll down. Here you see low latency mode. Test it for yourself. For me on Ultra, it gave really good and positive feedback, and the game runs smoother for me. But for some people, it doesn't. So test it out yourself. Check how it goes for you on Ultra on or if you prefer it to be off. Next up, max frame rate. Make sure to put that on off so your game doesn't get limited by anything. Then we scroll down even a little bit more and we see power management mode. We're gonna put that on prefer maximum performance. Then next up, the option below that is preferred refresh rate. So it makes sure that the game runs on highest refresh rate for your monitor. So we're gonna click on it and put it on highest available. After that, we're gonna click on texture filtering. So texture filtering quality, we're gonna also put it on high performance. You won't really see much change in the way that your game looks, so don't really worry about it. It will increase your FPS in general. And lastly, your vertical sync, make sure to put it on off. After you do all of these options, you're gonna click on apply, wait a few seconds after it does applying, and then we're done with the Nvidia control panel. Next up, we're gonna go over the PC setting itself, the settings that are in the PC built in on your Windows. So again, we open the Windows menu, type graphic settings, open it up, and turn hardware acceleration GPU scheduling on. It will increase your gaming experience by a lot. However, after you turn it on, you have to restart your PC for the changes to take effect. Then you scroll down a little and you see here that choose a basic graphic performance preference, and you choose an app to set the preference. We're gonna click on browse and go find Valorant. So again, for me, it's on C, Riot Games, Valorant Live, and then not this Valorant. We go to shooter game, binaries Win64, and add Valorant Win64 shipping. So then scroll down and click on options and put it on high performance. So then this Windows knows that this is an important app for you and runs it on high performance. And then click on OK. Then on the top left, click on back in the settings again. Now here we're going to type game mode. So we're going to go into game mode settings. Game mode settings, I recommend it to be on. A lot of people recommend it to be off. But again, from my testings, on gave me better performance. Then we go into Xbox Game Bar and we're going to put it off. So on the background, there won't be a lot of network things that run out. Xbox Game Bar does consume a lot of networking. So we're going to put that off. Then next up, what we're gonna do is to type mouse setting and go here. Then on the top right, you see additional mouse options, or if you're Windows 11, you see at the bottom here that says additional mouse setting. We click on additional mouse option, then go to the third tab, which is pointer option, and turn off enhanced pointer precision. This is a very important option that has to be turned off, which is basically acceleration. If you have this on, it will always change your sensitivity of your mouse based on how quickly you move your mouse around. If you run it fast, your sense goes higher. If you run it slow, your sense goes lower. So you basically never gain any muscle memory when you have this option on. And all of your practices will go to waste. So we're gonna have it off and press OK afterward. Then we're done with the PC settings. And next up, what we're gonna do is to open up our Windows bar again and type control panel. So we go into control panel. Then after it opens, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go into make the category small icons. Then we go into power option. For me, it's on the left row. For each person is on a different row. So find power option and go into it. Next up, what we're gonna do is to put it on ultimate performance if your PC allows it, or click on show additional plans and put it on high performance. If your PC has the option ultimate performance, that means that it can run it, so there is no risk of putting it on that performance. Then we close that. Then we again open up control panel. Now this is network settings that I'm gonna go into. You don't have to do these settings, but if you see that you're having network issues with Valorant or any game in general, these settings might come in handy for you. If you don't want to do this, you can skip this part. So what you're gonna do, the same thing, open up control panel, make sure it's on small icons, and then go to network and sharing center. Then next up, click on change adapter settings on the left side, and it opens up this menu. From here, you're gonna change the main network that you have. For me, this is my Wi-Fi, this is my hotspot, and as I renamed it for myself so I don't ever forget it, this is my main network driver. So I double click on it, click on properties. Now, if this network is for your personal use only and you don't have a cafe or you basically don't share it to anyone else, or you don't have a printer, you can easily just disable all of these check marks beside IPv4, which is Internet Protocol version 4. Then next up, what we're gonna do, we're gonna click on configure, click on yes, and then we go to driver. Sorry, not driver, advanced. So then what you're gonna do is that in here, you're gonna search for everything that has the word offload and put those off. So offload off, then everything here that has an offload, we're gonna set them on off. Next up, what we're gonna do is that if you have energy efficient energy in Ethernet, make sure that is also turned off. And then we're gonna go down to here, WOL and shut down link speed. Make sure that is on not speed down. And lastly, it would be speed and duplex. Make sure that is on the maximum speed that you have, or you can also put it on the network speed that if it's in this list that your network mainly is set on. So for example, for me, it's on 100 megabytes, so I put it on 100 megabytes full duplex, or you can put it on 1 gigabyte full duplex. It doesn't really matter as much. So you press OK. After that, your network will go disconnected for a few seconds, and then it will run again. Don't be scared. But if your network doesn't come back online, you can easily just revert all of these changes and it will be fine. One additional note to add to PC setting before we go to Valorant is VibranceGUI. This helps you much more, make your game vibrance higher and helps you see the enemies much better. This setting changed the way that I played Valorant. It's so good and you cannot not have it. That's how good it is. So make sure to go and download it. Where you go in the VibranceGUI website. It's a very easy app to use and also doesn't really have any much big size. I believe it's on 800 kilobyte. So after coming into this website, click on download on PC or for laptop if you run on laptop. Then after that, when the app opens, so you're going to click on add if the Valorant is launched already, and it will show you here if it is, and add Valorant, or you can click on add manually. So again, go to where Valorant is installed. For me is on C, Riot Games, Valorant, Live, Shooter Game, Binaries, Win64, and add Valorant Win64 shipping here. After doing so, I have already done it. You double click on the game and then you increase the vibrance however you like. Open the game as well so you can see the difference. So for me, it's on 75%. That's where I found my middle ground. 100 was way too much for me, so I have it on 75. And after running the game with this vibrance UI, I cannot play without it anymore. And it just always feels like something is off. So make sure to also download this app. Now let's get into the rest of the settings. All right, so for Valorant, when it is open, you go on the top right click on this icon, then go to settings. So when you're in the settings from top to bottom, we're gonna go in the general settings, enemy highlight color. A lot of people put it on purple or red, but it is better to have it on yellow. It doesn't really matter which yellow unless you're colorblind. So make sure it is on yellow because human eyes are more sensitive to the color yellow and it helps you to notice the enemies much quicker and better. Then next up, what we're gonna do is that beta raw input buffer. I prefer to be on, but again, this is much of a preference, not really that much of a change. It does change it up, see how you prefer it. Next up, keep player center. This option is very important for it to be off. A lot of people have this on and they don't realize it. What this does is that it focuses the minimap on your character and yourself, so then you cannot see the rest of the minimap. That, for example, if you're playing on C site Haven, you cannot see what's going on A site on your minimap, and you have to rely on your allies' communication. And that is something that you barely see in the games of solo queue for yourself. So have this off so you see all of the map, and this will help you to increase that minimap awareness of yours. Next up, we scroll down, minimap vision con. This is also very important to have it on because a lot of people, again, I've saw that have this off. What this does is that it shows you your allies' vision and also your self vision on the minimap. Now, a lot of people find it be pointless, but you can find a lot of valuable things from this vision con. For example, what your allies are holding. Or for example, if you see that suddenly your ally vision con is cut off, then you understand that they are smoked. That's why their vision cannot go further than that what it's supposed to. So make sure that this is on. Then we scroll down a little further. So show mature content. I have it off because I don't really use them, but if you have them on, make sure you have show corpses off. This is very important for it to be off because a lot of the time the bodies either block your vision to an enemy. For example, if you're playing Haven and you're holding Heaven, but there was someone that just died on Haven window, on Haven window. Sorry, you basically you won't see the next person because that body is blocking them. So make sure that this is off, or you're playing as a sage. You cannot choose exactly which body you want to revive if they're dead on top of each other, because it will be random and very hard to choose. But if you have those corpses off, there will be instead discs that if you aim at the certain disc, it will light up that agent that it is. So make sure it is off. Then next up, show bullet tracers. Make sure that is on so you see where the enemy's bullets are coming from. Next up, show a spectator count. This is very important for it to be off because a lot of the time it just adds useless pressure on yourself and stress. So if you have it off, you can make sure that that additional stress is not really on you anymore, that oh, someone's watching me. Then we're gonna go to our audio setting and enable HRTF. We're gonna have it on. Again, a lot of people prefer it to be off, but what it does while being on, Valorant explains it fully. So HRTF provides better 3D. So if you go and look at the dev blog, which I leave the link down below as well, so you can see the examples they provide with HRTF off and on. It's much better to be on because you can realize the direction of where the enemies are much better. Then we go to video setting. So here, make sure your game is on full screen. There is a thing called input lag, and when your game is on Windows full screen, that is much higher. So make sure it is on full screen so that input lag goes down to 3 or 4 milliseconds. Then on the lastly here, Nvidia reflects low latency, make sure it's on plus boost. Then we go to graphic quality. Here, this is again a very preference, but if you want better FPS, follow what I have already for mine. So it is matter quality on low, texture quality on low, detail quality on low, and UI quality also on low. You can have this on medium, it doesn't really affect that much of a performance. Vignity, you want it off, and VSync you also want it off. Anti-aliasing, none. You can also have it on MSAA AA 4X, it's your choice, but none is my preference, and it also doesn't really affect performance that much. And saturate filtering, I have it on 2X, but you can also have it on 4X if you like. And the rest, I have everything on off. But beta experiment sharpening, you can have it on if you prefer it. I used to prefer this option, but then I just didn't like it anymore, so I turned it on off as well. However, one thing that you have to understand of why I mainly have these settings and why I have it all on low is because of the competitiveness of the game. A lot of the time when you have your graphic quality, for example, on high, the smokes can have an effect that you see as the high option person, but the person that has the low quality doesn't see that. So you think to yourself that, oh, I'm hidden in this detail, but the enemy actually that doesn't see that detail sees you and you just die. And you think to yourself, how did that enemy see me? I've seen this example a lot of the time when one of my friends wasn't seeing an enemy that was outside of a viper pit, but we were seeing them, and then after that we understood that they were playing on high quality, but we were on low quality. So make sure if you want to have that little competitive advantage, all your settings be on low. Then next up, we move to stats. So on stats, if you want to see your FPS, find FPS, turn that on text only, so it shows on the top left of your screen. Server tick rate is also very important for it to be on. A lot of the time when you experience lag, it is from the server side. So when you have the server tick rate on, you can see if it's the server overloading or if it's actually your PC. So when this is on, it shows on the top left the tick rate. It should be on 128 Hz tick rate, but if you see it go up and down a lot, that means the server is having issues. Then we go down, game latency is what I told you. You can have it on text only to see how much your PC basically rendering and stuff like that is putting input lag on your game. If it's higher than 10 milliseconds, that means there's a very big issue with your PC. However, usually it should be around 3 to 5 milliseconds. 6 is also fine. It's basically imagine as an additional ping to your ping that you play on the game. Then here, the ones that I have on due to my network condition are network RTT and also packet loss. The jitter is also good to have it on text only. Sometimes the network jitters and goes up and down, so it's better to have it on to see if your network jitter is putting you on a network lag. So when it goes by higher than 10 milliseconds, that means that it's very high again and it's putting a lot of input lag on your game, but it should usually be around 0 to 4 milliseconds. But yeah, that's all of it for Valorant settings and PC settings. I hope this video helps you to have a better performance and FPS in the game. If you have any question, make sure to leave it down below in the comments and I make sure to answer them to you. Until the next video, goodbye.